type in the chat box if you can. No, you can't see or hear me? Okay, try it. Let's see here. Can you hear me now? Okay, so Rebecca says she can hear me. Okay, after refreshing. Okay, great. And okay, so I'm going to get started. Great. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me just hit my notes here. So thank you so much for joining in today, where we'll talk about 4 awesome tips to help you eliminate procrastinating. So I just want you to just type in the chat box what city you're listening in from or you're watching from before we get started. There seems to be a bit of a delay there, but okay. We have a few more people joining us. Welcome. So go ahead and type in the chat box where you're calling from. Okay, yes, we have Rebecca in Australia. We have Rachel in Louisiana, and we have Zena from LA. And okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started right into the content. So just to let you know a little bit about me, if you don't already know about me, my name is Krista, and I am a coach that helps women who are perfectionists kick procrastinating to the curb and truly go after what it is that she truly and really wants and deserves. So with that being said, I know exactly what it feels like to battle, so to speak, procrastinating, because for a long time I really wanted to create a life that is pleasing and it's serving me. And for a long time I wasn't doing that, because after graduating university I had a corporate job and I worked there for about 2 years. It was one of the bigger banks here in Canada, and I worked there for about 2 years, and that just did not feel right. So I decided I was going to, take a step back. So I left and took some time off, and then I wanted to do something more meaningful, but I couldn't really put my finger on exactly what it was, because I didn't really do all that self realization and really like dig deep. And I then after got into the nonprofit space, where I worked in events and doing admin work and just wanting to, at that point I just wanted to do something and work with an organization that was doing something very meaningful. And then close to 2 years later, I was burnt out. I couldn't do it anymore. So I decided that, this is wanted to take a step back from that, so that I cut my ties there. And then I did a lot of soul searching. And while I was at that job, I actually knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur / coach. I wanted to do something meaningful, and I wanted to do something on my own terms. So that's where it all began. And like almost close to 2 years later, this is where I am right now. So that's a little bit about me. So I just want to go ahead and get into the webinar. So the structure of the webinar will be, I'll go ahead and share the 4 tips and then open the floor for any questions. So want to be really mindful of the time we have. So let me get right into it. We procrastinate not only because we don't want to do what the task is that we have to do. It's largely because the task at hand isn't our strength. And if we force ourselves into thinking that we need to excel at this one thing, even though it's not our strength, then we're obviously going to find ourselves in some places of challenges, and we're gonna have like difficulties essentially getting that thing done because we're not really being truthful to ourselves in terms of actually getting anything done, and that's essentially not serving you. So whatever it is that you need to get done, so it could be anything from getting your website done, having awesome copy, getting your resume reviewed professional, whatever it is, think about if it's actually your strength. And if it's not your strength, then you need to find someone who can help you with that, because that's a place where you're going to start to feel procrastinating. So I'm going to take a drink of water. So what I want you to be mindful of throughout this live training, I want you to think about one thing you procrastinated on in the past 3 days. Did you think about why you procrastinated on that one thing? So go ahead and look in the chat box to make sure everything's going well. Okay. Okay, seems as if there's a delay there. We're having some issues. Yes, the call will be recorded and you will have access to it after 24 hours. So within 24 hours, so until the end of day or the beginning of Sunday, actually Saturday. So you will be receiving the recording, so no worries about that. Okay, so I'm gonna just get back into it. So the first tip, essentially, in kicking procrastinating to the curb and really having a hold on this procrastination dilemma is, first of all, create the right mindset. And what is the right mindset? The right mindset, of course, is a positive mindset, and really being conscious of what you're fueling your mind with. And how do you do this? By defining what motivation means to you and taking a step back and analyzing the polar opposite of freedom, which is fear. So how are you motivated? And when you are fueled by fear, what are those motivations like? What do they look like? A lot of the times they look like you having limited beliefs on your capabilities to be open and to be strong, and the ability to go after whatever it is that you really want and not being crippled by it. But a lot of the times you actually are crippled by it. And your ambitions and your behaviors become so small and constrained that you don't take imperfect action, and you procrastinate, you procrastinate, and you procrastinate. And imperfect action is actually better than not taking action at all. And it's all about expecting to have a result. So it's like you sitting down day in, day out and expecting to make some money, and you're sitting around and you're not doing anything, tangible. You're not doing anything that it's going to get you to that result. And then you're finding excuses as well why you can't get it done. So you have to be really clear in all of that and really focusing and being committed to taking imperfect action. So we all know how to do this. So why don't we all take action? Why do we play it so safe and never show up in the world? Go ahead and type in the chat box why it is that you find yourself playing it safe and you never wanting to show up and show the world what it is that you're working on, and why don't you take action? Go ahead and type that in the chat box. I'd love to hear what some of your thoughts are. So I'll go ahead and see here in the chat box. Okay. But there seems to be a delay, so I guess I'll just keep going and then catch up with what you ladies have shared. And a lot of the times when you want to start a new business or you want to venture into a new career, a lot of the times you actually fail because you can't move beyond your failures. I know. You can't, you're failing because you aren't willing to move beyond your failures, because failure and obstacles are expected to happen. Like, that's just how it is. Like, and I think that I'll go on a limb and not say I know that having these obstacles and these challenges posed to you helps you to have greater clarity about what it is that you want. And it really tests your commitment to getting what it is that you want to accomplish. So if it's, like I said, if it's starting a business or venturing into a new career, then when the obstacles, you're faced with those obstacles, that really tests your commitment level. And a lot of times people fail because they would rather sit there and be comfortable and delay. And they aren't willing to change direction and be innovative. And sitting there, what do? They absolutely accomplish nothing because they're waiting for the perfect time for their situation to change in order for them to take action. And guess what? There's no perfect time, essentially. The perfect time, in theory, to take action is now. And most women, we tell ourselves that tomorrow our situation will be better and things will be better at that point where we will take action then. So let me just check in the chat box to make sure everything is going good. I keep doubting whether I made the right decision about my branding and whether or not I have an ideal customer defined correctly. Rachel shares that doubting myself in fear of failure. Zena talks about wanting to be fully complete, the end version, before launching rather than having the minimal viable product. Yes, we create these mental constructs and we create these obstacles essentially without thinking about why we started. And thinking about why we started is really, really important. And Kelly shares that feeling like I'm not ready, but more so the fear of imperfect action, as you stated earlier. Yeah, and it's all about taking imperfect action. So that's essentially the point of it all, right? Because if this is something that you're committed to and it's something that you hold very valuable to yourself and it's something that you want to accomplish, then of course you have to, the test of times will show how committed you are. So let's keep going. So what does all of this essentially mean? All this fear, all this failures, what does all of this mean? First, you need to know what is the cost of fear. We must become aware of this. You see, when you are motivated by fear, we lose our emotional center, and this causes us to become frazzled, frustrated, overwhelmed, and fueled by anxiety. I mean by this as something that we all experience at some point or the other in our life. But what if I told you that you could become more conscious of your mindset than you could actually eliminate being stressed and overwhelmed. Would you agree? Like, share with me in the chat box if you understand what I mean by this and if you agree with this. Okay. And so if you do, so essentially you're agreeing that either fear wins or freedom wins. They both can't work simultaneously together. So it's entirely your choice in terms of what happens. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you have chosen freedom because you're on this call today and you are all about taking imperfect action and changing the momentum of your life moving forward. Second tip, create a positive social environment, creating a full experience life versus a half experience life. If you want to create a full experience life, then you have to master moving beyond procrastinating, regardless of whatever the situation, whatever obstacles the situation is being faced with. Okay? Yes to freedom, of course. Yes, I like to hear that. So you're like in the space that you're sitting down right now. Is that environment conducive to a healthy social environment? Are you surrounding yourself right now in a clean and clear space? Are the people that are closest to you and the people that you interact with the most, are those people highly motivated and positive people? I hope they are. And if they're not, you can be honest about that and say that they're not, and you're willing to make a change, and you're in the right place if you're willing to make that change. So the truth is that many of us do not even pay close attention to these things. That's the truth. Like, a lot of the times we do say that, we want to be around like-minded women, whether you're in business or you're highly skilled professional, whatever the case is. We want to surround ourselves, yes, with people who are in similar spaces, and so we can bounce ideas off. But also, are we even paying close attention to the people that we interact with on a daily basis, the people who we are closest to, like, or family? Like, are these family members people who fuel positivity for you? If you have a full experience life, this is what your life would look like. You would be reject being someone that's always worrying and someone who is always complaining and being a weakling, essentially someone who is afraid to stand up for what they want and is constantly worrying about the possibility of failure. But wouldn't you rather be a warrior? Wouldn't you rather be a leader of your life? And by doing so, you become the director of what you fuel your mind with and what actions you take. So I have a suggestion for you, and you could take this as likely as you want, but I think that it's really, really important that you never commit to anything that you are not passionate about. And I addressed to the beginning of this training that we find ourselves procrastinating a lot of the times because things aren't our strength, like design isn't my strength. So whenever I have to do something that is design related and I try to, decide, oh, I'm going to be a superwoman and try to do it myself, I end up getting super frustrated and super overwhelmed, and then I don't want to do it. And a lot of times we can eliminate all that stress and that buffer and just, delegate it to someone else who can help us out with that. Okay, let me check the chat box. Make sure it's good. Okay. Totally streamline our lives. Yes, I like that. Great. So A half experienced life, on the other hand, looks a lot like this. You're working on something, it doesn't quite go the way you planned, you get disappointed, and then you quit. That's it. A full experience life, on the other hand, looks a lot like this. You're working on something, it doesn't quite go the way that you planned. You get disappointed, and then you change your course because the outcome is so worth it. Your dreams and desires are worth it. You know what fuels a full experience life? You know what it is? Being a learning achiever. Being open to learning along the way. And yes, you're going to get disappointed along the way, but don't let that fuel you into procrastinating and not actually getting things done. 3 hours trying to do something techy, getting super frustrated, and then remembering how he's a software developer who fixes the problem in 30 seconds. Yeah, so it's all about delegating, like Zena said, you know. Yes, of course. And that's really, really important as well. Good. And one thing you need to know is that if you're not disappointed from time to time, you aren't actually attempting anything new, significant, or bold. Because disappointment is to be expected. So let's embrace that disappointment because it's necessary. And in us embracing it, we should also be mindful that disappointment holds no power over us because you essentially have all the personal power that you need over yourself because you've said that you've chosen freedom rather than fear. So that's essentially what it is, right? Because disappointment actually dies when we adopt a learning mindset. Okay? The third point is that we transform your delays and doubts into action. And how do you do that? By consciously changing our negative self-talk into positive thoughts, because positive thoughts, directs us into taking imperfect action and igniting our courage. So I have another question for you. When was the last time you thought about how well you've been treating yourself? And I want you to be completely honest here. The power of transforming your delays and doubts into action starts with developing a mindset for real momentum and have a clear direction as to where you're headed. So I want you to go ahead and share in the chat box with me and everybody else because you're here to learn and you're here to make that change. And that's why you showed up on this call today. So the question again is, when was the last time you thought about how well you've been treating yourself? I'm going to go ahead and check in the chat box to see. Learning achiever, love it. Yes. Yes, I like that. You got a risk to gain. Yes. Yes, and risk is a part of the game, right? If you want to gain, you got to risk. So the most comfortable place to sit when you've got something that you really want to have and there's no doubt that you deserve the outcomes of this particular task, whether it means investing in that course and that could take your well-being, your business, your career, your life in general to the next level. Hiring that coach, joining that, that small mastermind of women who will help you to stay on top of things and to be held accountable. Invest in yourself and make that a priority. Because it's so comfortable when we tell ourselves that I'll wait until tomorrow to finish working on this project. And essentially, what does the word tomorrow really mean? When is it ever tomorrow? And I don't mean that you should overwork yourself and be a superwoman, because we all know that being a superwoman is not healthy. And, even yesterday when I was talking to my business coach, I had a bunch of things that I needed to get done. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get it all done tonight. And she laughed. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take a step back, because that is essentially fueling my superwoman tendencies. And it's important that you have a clear direction of where you're heading, how you're going to get there, but more importantly, why you're going there. And in achieving this one thing, whatever it is, think about the big why, because when you are doing something for reasons that are not genuine and for reasons that don't actually ignite you, that's when you're really procrastinating. Okay? And in all of this, you have to know what your most valuable resource is. Your most valuable resource is your time. And a lot of the time we think that time is limited. I've heard at least a million times a lot of people, and women a lot too, say, boy, time's just flying. Well, yes, time is flying if you're not being mindful and you're just, not managing your time efficiently. A lot of times people say, oh boy, time is flying when you're having fun. And that's great. That means that you're actually being productive. But if you realize that, time is creeping up on you and you haven't gotten what you've set out to get done, then you're not making time work for you. And you have a tremendous amount of time. So if you don't take anything else from this call tonight, remember that time is your most valuable resource. What are some negative self-talk that you tell yourself so you can justify not taking action? And I don't want you to, when you think about, I just don't want to share my work with the world because ... Go ahead and type in the chat box, like, what is the statement or what is the phrase that follows, I don't want to share my work with the world because I don't think that I'll make an impact, because I don't know what it takes to start a business, because I don't know how to change my career, because I don't know how to, I don't want to go out, or I don't feel like going out to meeting new people or meeting potential life partner, because like all of those things are just their own mental projections of fear, and looking at failure as, such a terrible thing. Okay, let me go ahead and check in the chat box. Yeah, so yes, I'm guilty of not taking enough care of myself, which is not cool, given that self-care is something I talk about constantly with my clients. I even wrote a book about it. Yes, self-care is really, really important. Kelly says that I always think about self-care. I know it's important, but unfortunately, I don't often make it a priority. And you have to make it a priority. Yes, Zena said that when the why is authentic, that you'll continue moving, and that's why you are procrastinating, essentially. Great. So let's keep moving. You guys are really interactive. I love that. So let's take a step back. Where does it all start? With knowing that my reality can be shaped and changed by my direct actions. And so I'll take action. And as such, my direct actions will forge my ideal life. So essentially, always favoring action over inaction. When our mind wants something for good and meaningful reasons and we do not pursue it, this is like dismissing our own self. And think about how awful that is. And now we're going to move into the final tip. Building the momentum you need to thrive as a perfectionist. So, for me, I have 4 non-negotiables per day. Mine are prayer, exercise, breakfast, and alone time. That's 4, not 5, 4. What are your 3 to 5 non-negotiables per day? Are you making these a priority? Are they serving you, or are you just doing them because it has just been like a habit that you've developed? Giving yourself the permission to fail, but still take action beyond these disappointments will actually help you to build the momentum that you need to have the life that you want. And that's how you build momentum that you need to thrive as a perfectionist. So improve your behaviors around procrastination. And how do you do that? You do so by creating clarity and thinking about what are the contributions you wish to make. Why do you want to create? And remember, if it doesn't fuel you, it's not in your zone of genius. It's not something that is authentic to you. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and look in the chat box to see what you've been sharing, and then I will wrap up the content for the webinar. I definitely can agree with, relate to what you're saying, Rebecca, about struggling to take the next step in your business because you're worried that you'll be the only one who shows up. And you know what? If you're the only one that shows up, that's okay. That means you just need to change your course of action. Yes, Zena, that's really, really important too. And I'm going to be completely authentic and honest with you on this call because like 5 minutes before we started, I thought to myself, what if I'm the only person that shows up today on this call? You know? And I thought about all the other people who I admire, and to remember that they started from somewhere too, and they started small. They didn't start off being a rock star, you know, from the onset. So we all can relate to this in some way or the other. So how do you counter all of this? How do we tie all of this together? We can do so in a few ways. Hold yourself with high integrity. Ask yourself, how would your best self view and respond to the situation? And this should be that one accessory that you carry around with you absolutely everywhere. Hold yourself with high integrity. Ask yourself, how would your best self view and respond to this situation? And this could be that one accessory that you should carry with you everywhere. Be aware, number 2, be aware of your personal power by gaining greater presence and purpose in your life. If you're the director of your personal power, you won't procrastinate. As we are attuned to our vitality and our strength. How do we tie this up? Point 3, gain full might over your personal power. Look forward. Looking back on past failures only serves you with frustration if you aren't being mindful and using your past obstacles and failures as a measuring stick for growth. But your actions, however, is the yardstick of your character. So develop habits that get you closer to the direction of your desires. So In tying all of this together, the super force behind all of this is developing a mindset for real momentum, taking full responsibility of your personal power, and knowing that it's exceptional that you have high standards, and that attaining mastery, that disappointment will be present. Attaining mastery will accept and satisfy that disappointment is just a part of the game, essentially. So I'm going to take a drink of water. So I'm going to go ahead and chat box and see. A different course of action. I love that. Yes, sitting down and expecting, the same things to happen, the things that we want to happen, with sitting down doing the same things will not actually make it happen. So it's all about taking a different course of action. I love that. Yes. All right. So if you're ready to build that momentum further and get those steps that you know will get you in line to achieve your goals and completely excel at, the goals that you want to actually complete, hands down, no questions asked, then if that's for you and you're a bold action taker, then I invite you to join my 30-day challenge to eliminating the procrastinating dilemma. And I'm going to go ahead now and share screen so I can share with you more about this 30-day challenge. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. Okay. 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 Okay, so here you go. So 30 days to eliminating the procrastinating dilemma. So why is this 30-day challenge like none other? It essentially provides you with actually getting clear on what it is that you want to get accomplished and not being flustered and bothered and feeling stuck. You see, in just 30 days, you'll take so much action and really ignite your motivation beyond your doubts, your fears, and kick procrastinating to the curb, essentially. And some of you on the call today have already taken part in the 30-day challenge. And here's what Rachel said, and Rachel's actually on the call today. Rachel, and these are her exact words, and you can ask her as well. Rachel mentioned that, the 30-day challenge really opened up my eyes to everything about what I was doing wrong and in my business, and what it is that I really need to do in order for me to succeed in my business. And these are her exact words. And she recommends that this challenge, is for anyone that needs a clear mindset of what they want in order to succeed in their business and beyond. We also have the lovely Melissa, who went through the 30-day challenge as well. And, she's she's a really sweet lady. And she is a chronic perfectionist. I met her last year, and we've been, having a few consultations over a period of time. And, she was really excited to join the 30-day challenge because, like I said, she's a chronic perfectionist. And she found the daily content in the challenge really, really helpful. But what she found the most value in this challenge was the 30-minute coaching momentum call. So a part of this 30-day challenge is receiving 2 30-minute momentum coaching call. And in the momentum coaching call that I had with Melissa, I pushed her to take action. I asked her what it is that you're doing in your business right now. And she said, well, just really passive things. And I said to her, well, you're in business because you want to make money, right? And she mentioned, yes, I want to make money. And, that's why I'm in business. And I said to her, well, if you keep doing the same things over and over and you're not getting the results that you need to get or the results that you want to get, then you definitely need to change your course of action. And she mentioned it here, and you can see Krista really pushed me to take action and to look differently at the way I do things in order to make the most of my time. And if you struggle with perfectionism because you want everything to be perfect, then I highly recommend this challenge. And also we have the lovely Rebecca, who's also on this call as well, that went through the challenge, and she really was able to do something really actionable. And I really, really commend her on that. Was, she was able to set a deadline and launch her business that she's been procrastinating on for more than 6 months. So it's all about getting some results. It's important that you get results in your business or whatever it is that you really want, because you want to accomplish, because we're coming on close to June of 2015. We're pretty much halfway through the year, and a lot of us haven't made any dent in our New Year's resolutions or in our goals, and we haven't really fueled anything. And these are all amazing women who have taken the challenge and really taken action and framed that outcome with a 30-day challenge. So what are the results of this 30-day challenge? At the end of it, if you want to really get the outcome, you are guaranteed to accomplish far more than you ever have, hands down, by the end of this challenge. No questions asked. You will spend less time procrastinating, and you'll find that you're a lot more productive, because these are some of the challenge essentially is shaped and framed based on my own experiences and the things that I have used to fuel my motivation to get to where I am right now. You'll learn how to harness your perfectionist tendencies and thrive. I do not like to tell people that they need to overcome perfectionism, because it's a personality trait. It's a part of you. Like, I think it's more important that we embrace progress, not perfection. Okay? And what essentially this 30-day challenge includes is daily audios with worksheets, personal accountability via a private Facebook group that I'll be hosting, as well as some videos and exclusive one-on-one momentum coaching calls, and email support throughout the challenge for the 30 days. Those momentum calls essentially are not calls that I provide on an ongoing basis, because they're one-off calls, and I don't work on a one-off basis, like on a 1 hour basis. But you'll be receiving 2 mini momentum coaching calls essentially. So 2 30-minute momentum coaching calls. And you will receive this right now if you make this a priority and you decide that that you're ready to change and really get things done. To you tonight, if you make this investment, it will be $97, and that is for a limited time only. And by the end of this challenge, if you find that you didn't get the results that you wanted, and you'll definitely, if you did the work and you show me that you've done the work, then no questions asked, I'll give you back your money, the $97. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into the chat box here to see how everything's going. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to any questions that you may have. Okay, I know there's a bit of a delay, so do we have any action takers on this call tonight? Rebecca, yes. Great. And do you have any questions for me? Like I'm opening the floor to any questions right now. Yes, Rebecca, you did well. So I will go ahead and paste this link to the challenge in the chat box. So yes, this 30-day challenge, just to give you some more information that I didn't touch on, will begin on June 1st. So next week, Monday. It will officially begin on June 1st, and it's going to be really good. So if you're an action taker, and if this is something that, you know, really excites you, I suggest you go ahead and, not suggest, go ahead and, you know, take the leap and invest in yourself, because if you don't invest in yourself, how do you expect anyone else will? And how do you expect anyone else will want to work with you? So it's important that you invest in yourself and create that leverage and really do something for yourself to really make a dent in your goals for 2015. So let me go ahead and check in the chat box. Okay. Just waiting to see if there seems to be a bit of a longer delay at this point with the webinar. So the link is there, and you know, just to give you some more backstory as well, like this challenge is definite, you know, like Rachel is saying that it's definitely worth it. Love doing the challenge. Yes, you know, with all the you know, it's all valued far more than the $97. I will let you know that on the 31st at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the price will increase to $197. And the challenge, like I said, will commence on June 1st. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my email address in the chat box. And I'll also send out a replay of the call we had tonight, so that, you know, if there's anything that you wanted to go back and listen to, then you'd have access to that. And yeah, so do you have any other questions about the challenge, or what we talked about tonight? What resonated with you the most tonight on this call? Okay, so we have a few more minutes left before we wrap up the call. And I'm going to see if we have any questions, or if you have any comments or anything that you wanted to share, then this is the time that we'll do this. And then I will end the webinar at this point, at that point. So let me check the chat now. Oh, Genius. You're welcome, Zena. It's called Genius, Zone of Genius. Thank you, Rebecca. So did you get that phrase, Zena? It's Zone of Genius. If it doesn't fit into your zone of genius, then you shouldn't be doing it, essentially, because it doesn't serve you. So you have some latecomers. And just to let you know, there will be a replay, and the replay will be available for about 24 hours. You'll likely get the replay first thing tomorrow morning. Okay, so we have about 5 more minutes left. Kadia said, I missed it all, I'm sorry. Will there be other opportunities in the future? When you say that, Kadia, what other opportunities are you referring to? For the webinar, or to chat with me, or what exactly do you mean? Like, if you're referring to the to the webinar here right now, there will be a replay, and the replay will be available for 24 hours. So you will likely get that replay tomorrow morning. Kelly says, good info. Thank you so much. You're most welcome, Kelly. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, since we seem to not have any more questions or any more comments or anything like that. I think I have a piece of hair on my lip, so I keep touching it and forgetting that I have lipstick on. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the call, since there seems to be no more questions. Okay, well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining in on the call. I really, really appreciate you being here, and for, allowing me to share this information with you. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is in the chat box, and I'll go ahead and put it in again for anyone who missed this, the content of the webinar and just happened to be joining in now. And that's the link to the 30-day challenge as well. You take care as well, Zena. All right. I'm just going to hang on for a few more minutes in case there's any questions, or when for the delay to catch up. But thank you again so much, ladies. And if you're not a part of the um, Facebook group that I have, it's completely free. Feel free to join. I'll give you the link. I'll get the link here, and feel free to join in and if you have any questions about anything, you can also contact me via the Facebook group as well, because I know a lot of times people prefer to communicate via Facebook because that's sometimes where you're spending the most of your time. Okay, so I'm going to get the link here for the private Facebook group and enter that into the chat box in case you're not already a part of the group. And then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I promise. I won't ramble anymore. You're welcome, Rachel. It's so good to have you here. I really appreciate it. Okay, well, bye, ladies, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or message me on Facebook via the Facebook group. Okay? Take care now, and have a good evening.